especially to our distinguished guests, respective teachers, and fellow students. I am Arthur N. Batugal. I am currently enrolled in the Masters of Arts in Education, major in Teaching Elementary Education under the Professional School of the University of Mindanao. It is my pleasure to present my research study entitled Academic Self-Efficacy and Motivations as Predictors of Engagement Among Blaan Learners, conducted under the guidance of my advisor, Dr. Renante Hinova, EDD DPA. This study aimed to examine how student belief in their academic ability and their level of motivations influence their engagement in the learning process. Through this research, I hope to contribute a better understanding of the factors that support active participation and meaningful learning, particularly among Blaan learners. A critical disparity persists within the educational systems, particularly affecting marginalized groups such as Blaan indigenous learners, who continue to demonstrate low level of academic engagement, especially according to Obeda and Kagoko 2025. Indigenous education is often challenged by several linguistic barriers and lack of cultural appropriate learning resources, which directly hinder active student participation. Furthermore, according to BITE 2025, this gap is compounded by the limited availability of localized studies that captures that live experience and internal motivations of indigenous students in Mindanao. Despite the presence of educational policy, in addition, according to Makapuga and Nakamura 2024 and RSIS International 2026, the absence of local narratives and education contribute to experience of linguistic, shaming and reinforces and structural barriers. Consequently, these challenges ultimately result in diminished academic confidence and reduced engagement among indigenous learners. In responses to the educational gap, the present study investigates the psychological and behavioral factors that influence Blaan students' academic performance. According to Mendoza and Santos 2025, academic self-efficacy serves as primary predictor of presence among indigenous learners, functioning as psychological buffer against socio-economic stress. Furthermore, Tan and Reyes 2026 argue that motivation is ethic monetary groups is deeply tied to cultural relatedness, or the extent to which students feel their identity is recognized and valued with the classroom. Moreover, by examining academic engagement through emotions, behavioral, and cognitive dimensions, this study aligns with the Holistic Engagement Framework 2025, which emphasizes that active involvement go beyond more attendance to include the mental and emotional presence of learners culturally unfair educational settings. The significance of this research extends to both local policy and educational mandates. According to Villanueva 2025, inclusive educational strategies are no longer optional but are structural necessities for preserving indigenous language and knowledge systems in Mindanao. In addition, the study directly supports Sustainable Development Goal SDG 4 as highlighted in the UNESCO Global Educational Monitoring Report 2026. Achieving quality education requires a shift from universal teaching approaches to context-specific pedagogy that honors tribal identities. By advocating for Blaan learners in Sarangani, this research provides a model for what Datu and King 2025 call thriving in context, helping indigenous students more beyond aware enrollment towards genuine academic flourishing. The research is guided by one broad goal and 5 specific objectives. The general objective is to analyze the productive relationship between academic self-efficacy, motivations, and academic engagement among Blaan students, especially asking whether a student confident and motivation can predict their level of engagement in learning. To achieve this, the study will first identify the factors that build self-efficacy, such as a sense of control and self-regulation. Second, it will assess the type and level of motivation student experiences, ranging from intrinsic interest to extrinsic rewards. Third, the research will explore how these forms of motivation and self-efficacy are conducted to the various aspects of academic engagement. Fourth, a statistical analysis will determine whether these relationships are significant or confidential. Finally, the study aimed to provide practical contributions by using the findings to develop culturally responsive teaching strategies that enhance engagement, improve retentions, and reduce dropout rates among Blaan learners. This research frameworks integrates 3 key psychological theories to explain the factors that contribute to student success. According to social cognitive theory kung Bandura, a student's self-efficacy or belief in their own ability is the primary driven of effort and persistence. Complementing this, self-determination theory kung DC and Ryan emphasize that learners are most engaged when their basic psychological needs for autonomy, competence, and relatedness are met, transforming external pressure into internal motivation. Finally, the theory of planned behavior or ASCENT highlight a student intention to remain in school influenced by both personal attitudes and social norms of their community. Taken together, this theory suggests that for Blaan learners, academic engagement emerge from a combination of high self-confidence, a strong sense of cultural belonging, and supportive community norms that value education. The conceptual framework serves as the blueprint for this study, illustrating the direct relationship between psychological drivers and academic behavior. It's operate on a predictor outcome, logic identifying academic self-efficacy and motivation as the independent variable that represent the internal resources a learner brings to the classrooms. Self-efficacy form the foundations as a Blaan learners confident in their own competence determines that the effort they exert and the persistence they demonstrate when facing cultural or academic challenges. This is further fueled by motivation, which encompassed both internal desires and external incentive, acting as the engine that direct effort toward specific goals. These two predictors directly influence the independent variable academic engagement, which is understood as a multidimensional construct, including behavioral improvement or participating in class, emotional connections or linking schools, and cognitive investment or deep process information. The framework suggests that by strengthening a student belief in their capabilities and fosters a meaningful driver to learn, educators can significantly enhance overall engagement. Ultimately, the model proposed that these internal factors are the most reliable predictors of school retention, providing a clear pathway for developing cultural responsive intervention aimed to reducing dropout rates in A-Level 2 districts. The study is set in the A-Level 2 district division of Sarangani, Region 12, Philippines, and employs a descriptive non-experimental correlation research design. This design allowed the researchers to observe and describe the natural relationship between academic self-efficacy, motivations, and engagement without manipulating any variables. The study focuses on a specific demographic of 400 grade 5 Blaan learners and their teachers. By concentrating on grade 5 students, the research captures participants who have several years of primary schooling experience but have not yet faced in the high-pressure transition to secondary education. To ensure consistency and relevance of the data, strictly inclusions and inclusion criteria are applied. Only students enrolled in the grade 5 Batukal and Noble Public Elementary School within Sarangani are included. While students from private schools or other districts are included to maintain consistent environmental factors such as school funding and curriculum. Ethical considerations are also prioritized, with all participants given the right to participate or withdraw anytime without negative consequences, ensuring that the study respects the right autonomy of the Blaan community. The research methodology follows a structured quantitative approach designed to reduce results that are both reliable and cultural sensitive. The study utilized adaptive instruments, including the academic self-efficacy and the academic motivation skills and the student engagement school questionnaires. To ensure these tools are appropriate for the target population, they are undergo rigorous testing for content validity and reliability, with Cornbarch Alpha used to confirm the internal consistency of the survey item. During the data collections, research worked directly with Blaan learners and their teachers, providing a real-time clarification to bridge any language or conceptual gaps, thereby ensuring that all 400 participants fully understand the questions they are responding to. Once collected, the data are processed using descriptive statistic to summarize current level of student self-efficacy and motivation, followed by inferential statistic, including correlation and rigorous analysis. This analysis determine whether self-efficacy and motivations are statistically significant predictors of academic engagement. Ultimately, this method provides a data-driven foundation for developing a cultural, responsive teaching strategies that address the unique psychological and cultural needs of the Blaan community. Result and discussion. These sections analyze and interpret the data gathered regarding the predictors of engagement among Blaan learners. The analysis is aligned with the previous outlined research objectives, focusing on the interplay between academic self-efficacy, motivations, and student engagement within the A-Level 2 District Division of Sarangani for the school year 2025-2026. Academic self-efficacy among Blaan learners. Table 1 presents the level of academic self-efficacy among Blaan learners, revealing a consistent response pattern with a standard deviations of 0.31. The overall mean score of 4.70, categorized as very high, indicates that the academic self-efficacy is strongly manifested among the learners, reflecting their high confidence and motivation in academic abilities. All individual indicators: perceived control 4.69, competence 4.74, persistent 4.70, and self-regulated learning 4.67. Also falls within the very high category, demonstrating the learners consistent agree or strongly agree that these attributes are evident most of the time or always. Overall, the results suggest that the Blaan learner possess very high level of academic self-efficacy, characterized by a strong sense of control, confidence, persistence, and effective self-regulated learning, all of which support their readiness for academic success. Table 2 present the level of motivations among Blaan learners, showing a relatively consistent response pattern with a standard deviation of 0.36. The overall mean score of 4.68, categorized very high, indicates that learners consistently demonstrate a strong sense of motivation. All measure indicators: knowledge 4.74, accomplishment 4.68, stimulation 4.68, identify regulation 4.76, intrinsic regulation 4.67, and a motivation 4.63. Also fall within the very high range, suggesting that learners are driven by both intrinsic and extrinsic factors, including the pursuit of knowledge, achievement, simulation learning environment, personal value, and external rewards. Overall, these findings reveal that Blaan learners consistently exhibit very high level of motivation with a strong influence from both internal and external resources that support their sustained engagement in the academic process. Table 3 presents the level of engagement among Blaan learners with the standard deviations of 0.37, indicating fairly consistent responses. The overall means of 4.66, categorized as very high, demonstrate that engagement is consistently manifested among the learners. All measure indicators: effective liking for learning 4.64, effective liking for school 4.69, behavioral effort and persistent 4.66, behavioral extracurricular participation 4.67, and cognitive engagement 4.65 also fall within the very high range. These results suggest that the learners enjoy both learning and school, exert considerable effort and persistence, actively participate in extracurricular activities, and demonstrate strong cognitive engagement. Overall, the findings reveal that the Blaan learners consistently exhibit a very high level of engagement, reflecting strong emotional, behavioral, and cognitive involvement in their academic and extracurricular activities. Table 4 presents the correlation between academic self-efficacy and engagement among Blaan students, revealing a positive and significant relationship across all indicators. Perceived control demonstrates strong correlations with all engagement measures, with an overall correlation of 0.786. Similarly, competency, persistency, and self-regulated learning also show significant relationship with engagement with overall correlation range from 0.736 to 0.873, all of which are statistically significant. No? This result indicates that high level of academic self-efficacy are associated with greater student engagement in both academic and extracurricular activities. In particular, strengthening learners' perceived control, competence, and persistence can enhance their emotion, behavioral, and cognitive involvement. Overall, the findings support existing research highlighting the crucial role of self-efficacy in promoting engagement, suggesting that foster student confidence and belief in their abilities can contribute to higher academic success and more active participation in school. Table 5. Show significant positive correlation between motivations and engagement among Blaan students. Knowledge demonstrate moderate correlations with effective linking for learning and cognitive engagement, while other indicators, accomplishment, simulation, identified regulation, intrinsic regulation, and motivation, show strong positive relationship with various aspects of engagement. The overall correlation of 0.854 indicates a robust connections between motivations and engagement. This result suggests that motivation plays a key role in enhancing student engagement, with both intrinsic and extrinsic factors contributing to learners' cognitive, behavioral, and emotion involvement. Overall, the finding confirmed that fosters a motivation alongside academic self-efficacy is essential for promoting active participation and overall engagement among Blaan students in academic and extracurricular activities. Table 6 present the regressions analysis examining the relationship between academic self-efficacy, motivations, and engagement among Blaan students. The results indicate that both academic self-efficacy and motivation are positively and significantly associated with engagement, suggesting that increase in these factors lead to higher level of student engagement. Academic self-efficacy be 0.722 and exert the strongest influence on engagement, while motivation 0.211 also make a significantly contribution. Both variables demonstrate high significant relationship based on the respective T value and P value. Overall, the regression model explains 82.62% of the variance in engagement are equal 0.826, indicating that although academic self-efficacy and motivation are strong predictors, other factors may also play a role in shaping student engagement. The study recommends enhancing academic self-efficacy and motivations are key strategies to improve student engagement. Teachers should focus on strengthening learners' sense of control, providing a personal feedback, encouraging goal setting, and promoting both intrinsic and extrinsic form of motivation. Supporting self-regulated learning through structured guidance, regular assessment, and ongoing teachers' professional development can help implement these strategies effectively, ensuring that Blaan students are fully supported in their academic journey. In conclusions, the study revealed that academic self-efficacy and motivation significantly influence engagement among Blaan learners, with self-efficacy demonstrating the strongest impact. A student confident in their ability and their motivations increased. their level of academic engagement also improved. This finding underscore the importance of creating a supporting and cultural responsive learning environment to enhance both academic outcomes and overall student engagement, providing educators with evidence-based strategy to foster success among indigenous learners. That concludes my presentation. Thank you very much for your time, attention, and support. I sincerely appreciate the opportunity to share my research and hope it provides valuable insight. Once again, thank you and God bless.